Well, there are a series of new breeding technologies. So GMOs is one, and there are commercial GMO potato crops in the US, for example, produced by a company called Simplot. I was just reading today that it looks like Korea is going to grow those GM potatoes. I think it's unlikely at the moment we'll see them in Western Australia very soon, but there's an alternative way. So GM means you introduce a gene from another organism, and something you couldn't do by conventional breeding. But one new technology which is moving like an express train is gene editing. So you can actually change an existing variety using gene editing without any introduced DNA, so it is not regarded as a GMO, and I can see that being applied in Western Australia. And indeed, we have had research in this area. So, for example, the work that we have done is to reduce the glycemic index, so to improve human health, to increase to reduce the acrylamide that's produced on deep fat frying potatoes, and also to improve other aspects, which I think will be so. Gene editing is the way that will go. This has to be done by methods which are slightly different methods from GMOs. There are a number of, as I said, of new breeding technologies, both conventional and what are classified as new breeding technologies or techniques. And because we now understand much more about potato, so the genomic sequence of potato is available, we know what genes underlie traits, it means that they can be followed either through conventional breeding, marker-assisted breeding, or through genetic manipulation, or through gene editing, which means that, and there are other techniques like speed breeding, which allow you to produce more generations a year. So all of these approaches are allowing us to speed up the production of new varieties with better properties to withstand heat and drought stresses, for example, or pests and diseases. So I think we will be able to keep up with climate change and be able to deliver new varieties into the future, even in the face of climate change. In WA in particular, we are not the largest producer of potatoes in Australia, and so they are imported from South Australia and elsewhere. And so that if the scale of operation isn't as large here, then the relative costs are a little bit higher. So that's one issue. Another one is that we did have a Potato Marketing Corporation of WA which controlled the area of growth, and they actually supported the initiative of Potato Research WA, which supported R&D for potato, particularly in Western Australia, and that was based at Murdoch University. However, with the dismantlement of the Potato Marketing Corporation, that support for research and more fundamental research on potato and issues in Western Australia was lost. So that was detrimental. And also by a change, by allowing basically a free-for-all for potato growers, the large growers had an advantage and they squeezed out some of the smaller growers. So we have fewer growers, and I think that's not a good thing, actually. I won't mention any names, but some might come to mind. But so that's actually had, to my mind, a detrimental effect on R&D from potato research in Western Australia. But there are opportunities. There are opportunities to export potatoes to our neighbours, say for Indonesia or other countries in Southeast Asia, and so we haven't really followed up on those. The other new technologies which are coming along, which I sort of mentioned earlier, are true potato seed, where there is now novel work of, rather than growing seed tubers, which are quite large and heavy, have to be stored and can go rotten, for example, in humid conditions. Seed potato, true seed, diploid seed as opposed to tetraploid potato, is now there's a potential to produce hybrid with this seed, to produce hybrid potatoes, which will increase the yield. So that's something where there's a very big projects, for example, in China, and we have one joint project with them on this. So that's a completely different direction for potato breeding and potato improvement.